and we're going to go straight to Scott in Safety Harbor. Scott, how are you?
Pretty good, Basil. Everything's fantastic. I emailed you on the 12th my prediction on VMC, and we're up about $6 now.
Very good. A very good call. Absolutely. Yes. So, folks, VMC, Vulcan is Vulcan Materials. This is a very interesting thing. I'm just let me look at this chart goes back to 1969, 1968. So Vulcan has been around forever, and I don't know what it is. I've never, ever really done any tracking I did at one point a long time ago, and that's all I remember. So when I saw the name again, I thought Vulcan, VMC, wow, that's a name from the past.
It used to be a traders in the spotlight, as you say, in play for a while, and then it kind of went out with the traders. But, to me, it was a no-brainer. I mean, it was at 141 on the high. Trump's coming out with all this stuff. I mean, I didn't do any real heavy intellectual. It was just a no-brainer,
Okay, so let's look at it right now. It's trading at 128.90 at a very nice low off the 119s, spikes to peak A, then a B in the daily chart, goes to 134.44, gaps down today. It's kind of holding under the 9-period moving average, 129.01. The MACD is it's making this kind of W formation. I can tell you this, that as soon as the MACD crosses positive right now, it's minus 0.42. When that histogram 0% line, when it crosses positive, I would not be surprised to see it in the 132.90, but probably close to the 135 area if it's going to be able to do that over the next few days. Stochastic is a little weak, so this is trading kind of off the 200-period moving average, which is at 124.62. That to me is critical. It really needs to hold 124.50. If it closes below that, it says needs a little more time. But I got a feeling you're right, because we too have something in play based on the infrastructure, and it's doing really, really well. Low price stock is in the triple digits. This is in the very low double digits. Single in the teens, so it has the same kind of characteristic. I think you're right, but I spoke a little earlier.
Why I'm thinking Vulcan, because there's tons. You got a lot of listeners out there to think, well, there's 1,000 different ones. Well, back to what I said about it being traders being familiar with it. They're familiar with VMC, and when they hear the word infrastructure, they think asphalt, they think this and that. Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff out there, but traders aren't familiar with it. They're going to go with what they used to do, and they're going to jump back in there.
So your reasoning, and I think you're absolutely correct in the reasoning, and we need to see it now in the price movement, is that it's just starting to become kind of a symbol that you can see by the volume starting to increase somewhat, that is becoming a little bit recognized. But when the fund managers decide that it is infrastructure type things, much more when they really get serious, this should have a play. And once it's in play, then the high that was made, the all-time high, which I only have as a peak C in my monthly chart, leaving still a D to come, the high was at 141.20 on the 26th of January, where most of the market made their highs. This is acting, it's a little too deep, minus 4.48 and 128.99 right now, a little too deep, and it went a little too low intraday. So it says to me, watch out, it's got more like an H pattern. But I think you're correct in looking at this for your type, because you go in and you go out. So you're looking for higher highs, and I think this has the potential to do that.
And I'm still playing with GE on a tight stop basis, but I'm sure you're wondering, why doesn't Scott mention CX? I mean, they're going to be dumping concrete all over the place. Well, CX got itself out of the loop by all that, anti-Trump propaganda, and we're not going to be part of the wall and this and that, and
well,
it was a terrible thing for them to say, and I think very irresponsible on the part of the owners of CX. But obviously, they're very tight with the Mexican government, so I think he's probably friends with the president of Mexico. So you kind of had to say that.
I think we don't. What goes on inside and what we know from outside. Let's just look at the chart. I think that CX is in play. The way you like to play for quick trades, I think it's going to be in play later on as well. But in the meantime, you're right that the Vulcan is there, and I think it's standing out as something that could do very well. But I wouldn't rule out CX because it's for your kind of trade, not for a buy and hold, but for those quick pops.
Right.
So yes.
Right. Yeah, I mean, sooner or later, yeah, we've heard the infrastructure thing go on for a year or two, but the bottom line is, I mean, whether you're up where you're at or down here in Florida, I mean, every single major bridge in the United States needs repair. But the biggest problem is really not the funds. It's as you know, it's closing these things down is just impossible, and that's the problem.
It is. So yeah, and not only that, you've really got a lot going on in terms of how to in New York. Whenever we go, there's a new bridge and a new this and a new. I don't know how they do it. They put up a most beautiful bridge, the Long Island Expressway. Is it the BQE, Bronx Queens, the BQE it's called Expressway. And they've got a new bridge, and it's really, and the traffic jams and everything. Finally, it's done. Everything's moving much nicely.
Well, the
much
thing is,
better. But
we all cut down the unions, and we cut down the $60 an hour for minimum, little jobs and all that. But the thing is, when you do pay people a lot, and they are under that union, those guys work. I mean, I've lived in Manhattan. When those guys are on a project, like you're saying, they get it done, and they get it done now.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that, boy, the work goes on, and they are doing, it really looks good, and it works well. Hey, Scott, thank you for calling. We're going to be keeping an eye on that VMC. Good eye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. So, folks, I want to do this just for a moment.